I'm Phil Mattingly at the Panama Canal, and this is CNN.